Cześć i dzień dobry wszystkim, Mufik z tej strony i zapraszam Was na odcinek z serii Kingdom Come Deliverance II, w którym zajmiemy się krótkim zadaniem pobocznym, w którym grzeszna dusza wreszcie zazna spoczynku. O proszę, jaka miejscówka ukryta. Jest nasz pustelnik, jak zakładam. Tak.
You've no business here, fella.
God be with you, hermit.
I don't have time for you. Go away.
Folk in the village are saying you've made a miraculous recovery. And since then, you won't let anyone near you. What happened?
Nothing happened. I just can't stand all these people coming here and disturbing me. Can't I have a moment's peace?
I came about that sword of yours. I'd like to buy it from you.
I'll keep my sword, thanks very much. It's a fine piece.
Right. Long since broken and unused. I wouldn't hum and haw too long if I were you. Radovan the blacksmith will give you a good price for it.
Oh, right. You mean that sword? I don't have it anymore.
Myślę, że polecimy z tą opcją z demaskacją.
Judging by what I've heard about you, you're a bit fishy, hermit.
What do you mean?
Well, there's a lot of talk about you in the village. They say you've made a pact with the devil, and are summoning demons from hell.
Old wives' tales. What do I care about such nonsense?
Well, but supposing it isn't nonsense.
Of course it is.
The apparition was seen by the conciliatory cross at night.
Old wives' tales.
I went to take a look, and it really is askew. But it wasn't magic that Hellspawn was wielding. It was a shovel. There was a hiding place beneath the cross. And the man digging there at night didn't have time to put the cross back in the right position.
By all the saints! So someone was digging there. What has that to do with me?
There was a brand new cloak of the Knights of the Cross in the hiding place. It's clear that the man doing the digging hid it there, maybe to cover up who he really is. And what he's planning.
I still don't know what you want from me. What have I got to do with some cloak?
The man who took things from the hiding place can't have
No,
been
zebraliśmy
some
wszystkie
thief.
dowody, jakie było. Gościu, nie masz szans się wykręcić i wymigać z
So
tego.
keep the groschen, lad, and stop pestering me. It's nothing to do with me.
I found some pretty interesting documents of the Order.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I reckon you do, Ambrose. According to one of the documents, you were appointed Seneschal of the Knights of the Cross with the Red Star. Or are you going to tell me it was some other Ambrose?
I'm not going to tell you anything. I don't know anything about any documents.
A few nights ago, a herdsboy saw a black horseman ride into Apollonia. He thought it was an apparition, but I think a demon would have known the road to Apollonia and wouldn't have spun round and round at the crossroads like a top.
Why are you telling me this?
Because I found a black horse stabled in a pen here. In the woods below the rocks. A well-fed, healthy horse. Black as charcoal. The man who rode on it wasn't an apparition. Or the devil.
Why are you telling me all this? For God's sake! Stop this nonsense right now.
That's enough. I think there are enough fishy things going on around you for me to tell the bailiff. But you're in luck. All I'm after is that broken sword. So, come clean.
You're wide of the mark. But in the end, maybe you could help me.
What do you want help with, Ambrose?
I'm not Ambrose. He died some time ago. I am Conrad, Knight of the Cross with the Red Star.
What are you doing in the hermit's hut then?
In Prague, I got into a serious dispute. Ambrose was the only person who could help me. That's why I came to see him.
I'm guessing that the diabolical horseman scaring people round these parts was you.
That was not my intention, believe me.
Ambrose is dead, you say? How did it happen?
He was an old man. Unfortunately, he was already at death's door when I found him.
And you had nothing to do with his death?
Of course not. Ambrose was my friend. I'd known
No
him
gościu,
for
jeszcze nie
20
podjąłem
years.
decyzji, czy ci
He
wierzę.
was a good member of the Order and an outstanding teacher.
Ambrose was a member of your order.
More than a member. He was the Seneschal, second in rank only to the Grand Master. He served the Order for many years before
Proszę.
getting into a dispute with the Prague chapter and the Inquisition. Then he had to disappear. I was the only one to know where to look for him. But I came too late. All he managed to tell me was his last wish.
You scared the life out of Gerda from Troskowitz that night. What were you doing there?
Ambrose had a hiding place beneath the cross where he kept things from his past.
I found some documents there from the Knights of the Cross. But Ambrose clearly wasn't interested in them. So what did he send you to get?
He sensed that death was coming for him. He wanted me to help settle his affairs. And he also longed to hold his old sword in his hands one last time. I went to his hiding place that very night. But by the time I got back, Ambrose was dead. I put the blade on his grave in place of a cross.
So the sword is on Ambrose's grave. Will you tell me where I can find it?
You want to disturb his rest?
I just want the sword, that's all. It's no use to him now.
All right. I'll tell you where his grave is if you fulfill Ambrose's last wish instead of me. I can't do it.
No dobra, lećmy z tym.
What am I supposed to do?
Listen carefully then. There's an old widow called Margaret living in the village. Take this cross to her and say to her exactly these words. Margaret, Ambrose forgives you, but his brother must get what is rightfully his.
Margaret, Ambrose forgives you, but his brother must get what is rightfully his.
That's right.
I hope she'll know what this is about.
Don't worry, she will. Give her the cross, and I'll tell you where you can find the sword. Benedictio Domini sit tecum.
No nic, no przynajmniej wydaje się, że podróż i zadanie jest dość proste. Wdowę Małgorzatę znalazłem nie w Troskowicach, a na cmentarzu. W ciągu dnia modliła się nad jakimś grobem.
This might seem strange, but I'm supposed to give you this.
A cross? Mother of God, what is the meaning of this?
Margaret, Ambrose forgives you, but his brother must get what he deserves.
Ambrose? The hermit?
It was his wish that I give you the cross and the message. He said you'd know what it's about.
Oh my God! By all that's holy, it couldn't possibly be him. All those years, I'd lost hope. I never forgave myself. I committed a mortal sin.
Well, I don't know what you did. But this is supposed to be your absolution.
No, there's no absolution. Not yet. You said it yourself. Not until Ambrose's brother gets what he deserves. The bones. They still lie there outside the wall. Help me. His soul must find peace.
Oho, tak czułem, że ten quest byłby za krótki, jakby się skończył na zaniesieniu krzyżyka do babci.
I'll help you. But you'll have to tell me more.
Thank you, lad. Thank you. I'll tell you everything. It's a curse. I've never told anyone about it. And it's a good thing you caught me here. At the graveyard.
What does the graveyard have to do with absolution?
Hold on. Not so fast. I'll tell you everything. First, tell me... Are you afraid of the dead?
It's the living I'm more afraid of than the dead.
One should fear the dead. But in the end, it's probably a good thing that you have no fear. You see, one poor soul is waiting for redemption. For years and years.
Ah, I get it now. Ambrose's brother has to get what he deserves. This is about the soul of Ambrose's brother.
His name was Jan. He lies outside the graveyard wall, buried without rites. He's been there for 30 years.
Why doesn't he have a proper grave?
Because suicides can't enter the kingdom of heaven. They have to be buried outside the walls, like the unclean. The worst thing about it is that Jan didn't kill himself. He didn't deserve such a dishonorable burial, and it's my fault. I said nothing.
What happened to him?
The memories are painful. We were childhood friends, and Jan loved me. Only I chose his friend Vashek over him. He couldn't get over the rejection. So he lay in wait for Vashek one evening.
And Vashek killed him.
It was an accident. They quarrelled. Jan drew his sword first, and Vashek had to defend himself. Apparently, they got close to the cliff edge while they were fighting, and Jan fell. When they found his body at the bottom of the cliff, people thought he'd killed himself. The only one who didn't believe it was Jan's brother.
Jak to, że co, że znaleźli trupa z mieczem na dole urwiska i stwierdzili, że się zabił, a po co mu ta kosa była w ręce?
Did you see it? Were you there?
No, but I believed my Vashek. He would never have lied to me.
No, nie, to dobry człowiek jest do kościoła, chodzi, dzień dobry, mówi, nie okłamałby mnie.
Creeping up behind him one day and taking his revenge. In the end, that fear ate him up from inside.
Why didn't Ambrose avenge his brother Jan's death? He must have realized that you two were involved in it.
He went away to Prague and joined an order of knights. He didn't want revenge, most likely. He let us live in peace.
But then he came back and became a hermit in Apollonia. It never occurred to you that it was him.
No. His name was Adam before, but he changed it to Ambrose. Besides, he got old, and I don't go to the cliffs much.
Ah, the conciliatory cross where they saw the apparition. That's to commemorate Jan.
His brother Ambrose had it built there. And those diabolical apparitions. It's my fault for saying nothing. God is punishing me for my sins.
Nonsense. God wouldn't use a diabolical apparition to scare you, would he? And what's more, Ambrose forgave you, didn't he?
Only on the condition that Jan's bones will be laid to rest in consecrated ground. Help me lay him to rest in a proper grave, please.
But without telling the priest and gravedigger. Isn't that sacrilege?
That's the only way we can put right a terrible mistake. Jan didn't kill himself.
Dobra, pochowajmy go.
We'll give him a proper burial. Jan's soul has the right to eternal rest.
Thank you. The Lord will pay you back 100-fold. There's a rose bush outside the graveyard wall. You'll find his bones beneath it. Please bury him beside my Vashek. Here, beneath the pine tree.
Niech choć po
In
śmierci
that
się
way they'll be
pojednają.
reconciled, at least in death. Then place Ambrose's cross on his grave to bless their reconciliation. Take care, my friend.
Wykop grób. Okej, muszę ogarnąć te punkty. Wykop grób pod C, wykop szczątki zmarłego. To chyba nie był ten guzik. A, czyli to tu miałem kopać, a było okradnij grób. A, najważniejsze, że się udało. Zerwij kwiaty? O, jest. No i tu też jest okradnij grób. Dobra, wyciągnąłem trupa, biegniemy go oddać na drugą stronę. Szkoda, że Henryk nie może przeskoczyć. Prawie się udało.
Your journey ends here, Jan. I don't know what you have on your conscience. But rest in peace. I don't know much about prayer in these situations, but Our Father, There are many sinners in this world, but in the end we all face your judgment. For what we should have done, but lacked the courage to do. So forgive me this little sacrilege. You know better than anyone that it was the right thing to do. Thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven, and deliver us from evil. Amen.
God in heaven, grant poor Jan eternal salvation. So many years in unconsecrated ground, and I blamed myself.
To ciężko było łopatę podnieść
May
samej,
God
nie?
reward you, lad. I'd given up all hope.
I understand. A sin like that is a hard cross to bear.
30 years. I thought about it every day.
It's all right now. You did the right thing. Everything else is beyond the law of man.
I'd like to reward you somehow.
I expect you wouldn't want anyone to hear about all this, right?
Well, if you... Will you keep it to yourself?
Mam nadzieję, że chodzi o pieniądze. No dobra.
All right. I'll accept the coin, and that'll be the end of it.
Thank you again for your help. God be with you, Henry. Hail Mary, full of grace.
I to już wszystko w zadaniu Grzeszna dusza. Bardzo serdecznie dziękuję wszystkim za oglądanie. Gorąco zapraszam do kolejnego odcinka. A na razie to tyle, także oby do zobaczenia.